There we go. So yeah, I haven't got all the answers to what a financial plan is, but hopefully what I can show you today is that something that we've designed here might fit into that financial planning process. Now, a lot of the ideas of what a financial plan is certainly, I think everyone who's watching this today would agree with me that this on screen, as in a suitability report, probably doesn't justify a true financial plan. I hope anyone, anyways, that people in the audience would agree that this is not a financial plan. A suitability report is a legal document that shows, ticks boxes. It shows what you've done and why you've done it, and it answers some questions that the clients may have, and it also backs up the regulatory side as well. But I think we would all agree that it's not a proper financial plan. Now, the conversation does lead to, and I think, a better idea of what a financial plan is, and I think a lot of you would agree that a financial plan is person plus planning. And when I say person there, that means the actual person delivering the financial plan, as in the financial planner, but also the person on the other end, of course, the most important thing, which is the client. The client needs to be part of their own financial plan. And the second half of what I would say a financial plan is the planning. So this is the regular side. Financial plans are not made in a vacuum. They're not one-off documents. They're not things that you just produce and that's it. We know that the value of financial plans is that they're dynamic and they change all the time, and you come back to them and you hold people accountable to them. So this equation here, person plus planning, is getting there towards what I think a financial plan is. But hopefully by the end of the day, I'll be able to convince you that the side that also needs to be introduced is the actual physical, maybe just digital, tangible financial plan that you can give to your clients. So this is something that I would have argued that not many people actually do in the profession. Certainly some people do it, but an actual tangible financial plan is actually quite rare to find. And today we're going to go through some ideas that you might include in yours, and you might be able to build one of these yourself with your clients as well. The first thing I just want to cover is the idea of when we're actually going to use one of these things, just to put it into context a little bit. And the first thing I want to cover is that this is on top of suitability. So what I'm going to show you today is not, and we're going to go through today, is not designed to be a replacement for a suitability letter. I don't think that we can replace them just yet. I don't think we're at a stage just yet where we can replace them. And, that's not where the value lies for clients. Clients do not find suitability reports valuable. So this is meant to be a value add on top of your service. Every year goes without saying. So come back to these every year, see them as annual documents that you come back to. You can come back to them more often, every 6 months. But the idea is that these are living documents that you change constantly. And then the third thing is, just simply because this is on top of other work, at the moment, I'm seeing this as something that you do with your high value clients. So the ones who I pay you the most, who are worth the most, you use this as a client experience, a value add that they can use, that they can have in their financial planning process. If someone pays you, less, the idea really is that this is probably going to take you too much time to create to use with those types of clients. So for now, I see this as something that you can use with those top level clients who deserve and who, pay you the most. So they need more service from you. So we're going to go through it now, and hopefully if you have got it on your screen, then obviously you can follow along, but a lot of you guys will have already seen this before anyways. So the first part of it, I think everyone would agree, is that you need to cover the goals and objectives of what a client wants to do. And that is, in my opinion, and I think in everyone's opinion, that is the absolute starting point of a financial plan. It can cover, some people don't like the word goals. You can call it whatever you want to. Basically, it is just the desire of where the clients want to get to and what they want to do with their lives. That's the whole point of financial planning. Without this, there would be no point in it all, of course. Now you can include, of course, other things like values and principles and all those kind of things, which are, hot topics at the moment. But again, in this example, I've just kept it simple with goals and objectives. And I've kept it really to 3 things. So I'm a big believer in something called the power of 3. And, there's that thing of 3 is the magic number. I absolutely believe it is. And there's actually evidence that's been, there's research that's been done to show that 3 is a very powerful number. And if you keep things to 3, they're more likely to be done. So in this example, I've kept it to 3 things that they will do or that they want to do in their lives. And for some reason, the research says that they're more likely to stick to it if it's 3. Second one is of course, life stuff. So, in this example here, it says retire at 65, buy a camper and give house deposits to the kids. I think we would all agree again that a goal or an objective is not to consolidate pensions. That might be the solution, but it's not the goal or the objective. So in this example, we've kept it very simple with things that they actually want to do with their lives. And that could be go on more holidays. It could be retire earlier than 65. All of them things that you help your clients to do, that's the stuff that you include in this section here. And the third thing is something that is an absolute, principle of ours, which is to keep it clear. So don't use long jargony language. Don't use difficult language for them to understand. Don't try and over egg it. Just be very, very straight to the point of what they want to do and why they want to do it. So that's the first section done. So if you could see this as a story, that is, if you're the hero on their journey, if you're the guide on their journey and they're the hero, this is the very start. This is where they are in their journey right now and where they want to get to. The next part is something that gets in their way. So something that stops them from getting to do those amazing things that you mentioned previously. And again, these are called the obstacles, but again, we're keeping this to the power of 3. So those 3 things that they want to do, what 3 things are stopping them from achieving those 3 things? So in this case, again, I've kept it very simple. It's unawareness of what you have and messy finances that are stopping you from getting there. And there's another one which is underneath, which you'll be able to see on the example there. Plain English again. So, try not to use products or investments or anything like this in there, but do explain the obstacles, but try to keep it very, very simple. Again, don't use anything that's going to confuse clients because again, they'll just switch off straight away. And the third thing is no product focus. So if one of their problems is that their pensions are all over the place, don't say that your pensions are all over the place because they've probably got a negative connotation with the idea of pensions anyways. So we'll try and rephrase that. And in this case, I've just put messy finances because that is easier for them to understand. If you tell them that their pensions are all over the place, that's going to strike fear in their mind. And we want to keep away from doing that for clients. Number 3 is something which I think is probably the most powerful part of the whole financial plan. And this is a kind of midway step to say, okay, we know where you want to go. We know what's stopping you at the moment. Let's kind of assess that and the different areas of your life that is happening at the moment. And you can see on the example, and you can see here that we've split it up into 6 boxes, and underneath each area of their life is 3 traffic lights of where they are at the moment. So obviously green means good, yellow means halfway there, getting there, and red means they're miles away from ever being able to do that. So the 6 different areas here are retirement, investing, protection, lifestyle, taxes, and estate. But obviously you can change these with your clients as well. So if you've got a client who's a bit younger, they will probably not value so much the estate side, but they may value the mortgage side or something like that. And in there, that's where you want to explain the different things that's going on in their life and how they are towards getting there. So again, customized. So all the different areas in here, I would leave them open so you can customize them with your clients and make it, make it theirs effectively. But also what you can do with these is they don't have to be areas of their lives. These can be their objectives. So if, for instance, you want to instead include an objective of retiring at 65 in one of these boxes, you can traffic like that as well. You can say how close they are to achieving that objective. That's absolutely fine. The idea with this is that you keep it nice and flexible for every single client. The second part is something that's not just important for this financial plan, but for pretty much every part of financial planning, is to be honest. So don't try and hold back and say, oh, well, you're doing okay, or don't over egg it too much and say you're doing fantastically well if they're not. Because as we all know, this is a prime example of garbage in, garbage out. If one of these areas here, they're not doing so well, but you tell them that they are, then that's just plain up lying to them. So what we want to do is we want to be honest, we want to be true to our word, and we want to honestly assess how they are doing in all these different areas of their lives. And then the third thing is easy to read, which is kind of a theme that flows through the whole of this, to the entirety of this document, is it being easy to read and in plain English. So you can see there that we're speaking first person, we're speaking to them, we're saying, sorry, second person, we're speaking to them, we're saying you, we're including them in this, and we're very, very much talking to them on this basis. You know, when you start to speak in other language, it starts to become a little bit unpersonal, if that's a word, and it just moves it away from them. So you want to speak to them directly, and you want to speak in language that they can understand. So, you know, in the second one there, your money was invested in things that aren't aligned with your values or your risk level. So some work needs to be done. Again, very, very simple language to understand, and not something that where we're trying to prove anything to the clients. We're just saying to them what's gone wrong and what they need to do to get better at it. The fourth section is actually my least favorite section, but I don't think you could probably have, I mean, you could have a financial plan without this kind of stuff in there, but this is probably what you guys would expect to see in a financial plan, and that's the investments section. Now, I probably wouldn't give too much time to this section. This, in my opinion, is the stuff that the other tools that you use covers. So that's the, you know, the cash flow and all the different platforms and things that we use out there. For this is more focusing on the life stuff. But, you know, you do absolutely, I would say, need this kind of stuff in there. So you can see there, we've got the actual investments, then we've got the kind of where their money is invested underneath. And then we've also got their risk level included in here as well. So big no-no is too much detail. So leave that for the suitability report, leave that for other things that you're giving them. In here, you want this to be easy to understand. You want it to be very, very simple for them and in plain English, so that they can actually understand what it is that you're telling them. So you can see there's no jargon. Maybe perhaps only the provider, investment and value is the jargon, but there isn't much too much jargon in here so that they can't understand it. Use graphics. So again, you know, it's very colorful, very clear for them to understand. The amount of text that we include in our documents as financial planners is an ultimate switch off for clients. So in here, we're trying to replace that wording with graphics instead. And in here, you can see there are a lot of graphics being used. Now, they're not the most interesting graphics, but they are still there just to make it very, very clear to the clients how they are doing at these different things. And then also to the point. Again, very, very simple, very, very to the point. Don't include anything in here that isn't relevant to their financial plan and their life, because if you do, again, it just switches them off and they can't see why it's even relatable to what you're telling them. So number 5 is advice. So this is probably where it's verging on the side of suitability reports, but what we're trying to do is make the language that you would use in a suitability report much more clear and in much more plain English so clients can understand it. So again, keep it to the power of 3. So you can see that I included 3 things here that you've recommended. Now, you've probably recommended more things. You know, I mean, I've seen some of the things that financial planners recommend to their clients. Sometimes there is, you know, 20 recommendations that you've given them in more complex cases. But what you want to do here is you want to pick the 3 biggest ones that are going to help them to achieve the goals or objectives that they were talking about earlier, and also removing those obstacles that we had. So in this case, we've kept it to organized accounts, tax efficiency, and tax-free cash. Again, I've kept it very simple. This isn't a real case. And you can obviously see where you'd be able to use this in your financial plans with your clients. No jargon is an interesting one because, you know, it's tough to not use any jargon when our profession and our industry is surrounded by jargon. But in this case, I want you to try very, very, very hard to not use any jargon if you can. So if you can avoid using the products, if you can avoid using all the different, different words that there are out there that you use with your clients in suitability reports in this document, that's going to go down very well with your clients. So if you can avoid using them, then that's great. Obviously, some jargon might slip into that in here. And then the third thing is value focused. So what you're trying to do with this, rather than just in a suitability report, where in reality, in a suitability report, you're not really trying to prove to the client what you're doing, you're just noting it down for regulatory purposes. In here, this is where you're really trying to show them why they're doing certain things, so that when they come back to this, they can look at it and say, oh, okay, I understand why they're doing that for me. And in this case here, all of these different examples, as you can see, they explain why you're doing the certain things. So with tax-free cash, it's in order for you to be able to give house deposits to the girls, we're recommending that you release some tax-free cash. I'm not a financial planner. I think, again, that's just a very, very made up example, and it might not be the best example in the world, but you can see there how we're relating it to why they're doing it and what they actually want to do with their lives. Number 6 is, I've called it life charts. Now you probably recognize these. These are from Cash Calc. I just snipped them from their website. Sorry, guys. But there's also other things that you might use like Voyant and Timeline and that kind of stuff. Now, obviously, these systems do usually prepare some kind of cash flow report for you to use with your clients. The idea with this is that this is a comprehensive document that pulls together all of those different things. So in this one, we've put your savings over time and income and expenditure. And then underneath, there's a little green box which says what this means. And that is where you can explain to your clients why you're doing certain things. So with this one, stress testing is probably one of the most valuable things that you can do with your clients to, show them what happens if. So in this case, you could include more examples. You could say, if this were to happen, this is how it would look, just like you would in a cash flow report, but include it in here as well. And what that does is this makes it super duper comprehensive for your clients, and it really does make it worthwhile for them to actually complete it. Explained clearly. Again, I mean, I feel like a broken record here, but I'm just saying that language that we use in this document here is not designed to please the regulator or to please, your compliance consultant or anything like that. It's there to please the client. So think about what they want to hear from you and the language that they would want you to say, to use with them. Pretty much how you would talk to them, include it in this document. That's what we're going for with this. And used sparingly. So it can be tempting to just put every single cash flow in there, and it can be used, tempting to go to Timeline and all the different things that we might use and plug all of them and snip them into here. The problem with that is that it then becomes ridiculously long. So only use the ones that are relatable to their financial plan, but also the ones that are most impactful. So the ones that really do show, okay, now you're on the route to living a successful life, and this is how we're going to get there. And the final part is the one that I think is probably the most crucial, well, not the most crucial, but it's the most crucial to include, and that is the tracking element of it. So as lots of people have said, what gets measured gets done. And also we need to hold our clients accountable. That's where the real value of a financial planner lies, is in that accountability to hold them to what they say they're going to do. So in this case here, we've included the objective tracker at the top, which says miles away, getting there, or on track. You can use different examples in your example, of course, and that's a tick box. So you can say, you're on track to achieving your goals. And remember that you come back to this every year and you check in with them every year to see what's going on. And then underneath there is actions, which is you, us, and both of us. So what are we going to do whenever the timescale is between now and then? What are we going to do? So the idea with this page is to hold clients to account. That's the most important part of it. There's a really a good idea that I've seen a lot of people using, which is this idea of focusing on the next 90 days. So in this case here, what we could do is say, in the next 90 days, we're going to do this, you're going to do this, and we're both going to do that. It all depends how often you check in on your clients. It could be in the next 6 months. But the idea with the 90 days thing is it keeps it very kind of short term, but it's not too short term that it feels like it's tomorrow. It's in the next 3 months, and you can get those things achieved. And then the final thing, of course, is just to come back to this every year with your clients. I think that is just crucial to do. This is a dynamic living document with your clients. So come back to it every year and update this. How are they still on track? And what actions are we going to do next year to make sure that we're here, sat there again, with our smile, with smiles on our faces, saying everything's gone smoothly again this year. So you're probably seeing that the things that are missing, and you might be sat there thinking, hang on, he hasn't put that in there. There's 3 things that I've purposefully not included. The first of those is obviously the jargon elements. So if we want to really kind of make this valuable for clients, we cannot talk to them in the way that we talk to each other and also talk to compliance consultants and the regulator. We need to offer value in a different way. And the way we do that is by cutting out all of that jargon. Sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes you've just got to include it. But the idea behind this is that you actively strive to not use that kind of jargony language with clients. Fees and charges aren't included in here. You could include them if you want to. I'm kind of, the jury's out on this. That stuff's normally included in suitability reports in terms of business client agreements, that kind of thing. So if you want to include them in here just for kind of maximum clarity with the clients, then you can. But again, I don't think it's going to add too much value to clients if you include that. And then the third thing is kind of on the same vein, which is risk. Now, we kind of had a little section on it in the investments part, which is, the summary of their risk level. Again, by all means, feel free to include this in your versions. I think it's valuable for clients understanding their risk. I really do. And with consumer duty, I think it's kind of your duty to tell them what their risk level is and how they got there. So you can include that, but I don't think that clients will find it perhaps too interesting. But again, by all means, feel free to include it in yours if you want to. So I've sent you your copy or in the comments section there. So you've got that now. But if you do want a fillable version, please just drop an email to ciao@docvinci.co.uk and we'll send you a PDF version of this document. And it's a PDF form, so you can fill it in yourself, and maybe for yourself or maybe for an example client that you have in your mind, just to see how easy this would be for you to do with your clients. And then finally, a shameful self-plug. So we, obviously this is our first webinar. We do have something at docVinci called the Hero Product, which helps financial planning firms to communicate more effectively with their clients. And this covers everything that we've been talking about today. So this financial plan is included in the Hero Product alongside lots of other things like website refreshes, terms of business, client agreements, but also marketing side as well. So it's helping people really clarify their message, really understand how they're communicating with their clients, and actually communicate well with their target audience as well. So that is pretty much it for today. I think we've got 4 minutes left. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen and I'm just going to have a look at the Q&A and see what's going on in there. So let's answer them first. Okay, we've already answered that one. That's fine. Nick Lincoln, yes, this will be available to view later, and I'll be sending out the recording to everyone who attended today. So I've done that one. Thanks for joining, Nick. Russell just says, nice one, Dan. Oh, thanks, Russell. Much appreciated, mate. Clara says, what was the email address again? That was ciao@docvinci. So that is ciao@docvinci.co.uk. Sorry, everyone, I'm just hammering through these. Faisal has also asked, can you repeat the link, please? So that was ciao@docvinci.co.uk. Ben has asked, do you have any good sources for where to get these sorts of graphics? It's a good question, Ben. So anyone who knows me and anyone who's seen this before will know that this is created in Canva, which is a free software for you to use. You can pay for the proper version, which I think is like 24 quid a month or something like that. Very, 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 very comprehensive piece of software. That is actually where I'm recommending people build these documents with their clients. Obviously, it takes a little bit of training, takes a little bit of getting used to, but the things you can do on Canva, once you've got the hang of it, they can be ridiculously good for your clients, and they really can change documents. So I would probably say go to Canva first. There's a lot of different ones out there as well. Mark asks, is Canva the best option? We've been using Visme. Visme is absolutely fine as well. I have never used Visme myself. I've seen it and it does look very good. So Canva or Visme, there's lots of different options out there. I just use Canva personally. So by all means, use Visme as well. Terence says, interesting session. Thank you. Thank you very much for attending, Terence. It's been a pleasure. Ben says, thank you. Rebecca says, hey, Dan, did you have any tips on layman-friendly software to design this kind of thing? I think that's probably just what we've been talking about there. So by all means, Canva is the best one. Personally, what I usually do is design them in Canva and then convert them into PDF forms so that they're easier for teams to create. So rather than training a power planner how to build this kind of stuff, what we could do instead is just, give it as a PDF template that they could use and create this kind of thing. But yeah, probably Canva is probably the best one, I would say. Joe says, thanks, Dan. Good stuff. Thank you very much for attending, Joe. Tracy, good question, Tracy. How easy or quick is it to create a document like this? So obviously, because I've been using Canva now for like 5 years, for me to do one of these things, it would take me like 20 minutes. But if you were designing it yourself, I'd probably give at least a few hours to create something like this, because it's going to take a lot of drafting, a lot of kind of chopping and changing. You absolutely can do it, and Canva is designed to be user-friendly and it's designed to be a beginner bit of software. But yeah, I'd probably say give yourself at least a few hours, if not more, to create something like this as well. Aaron says, thank you. Thank you very much, Aaron. It's been a pleasure. John says, thank you. Francois says, thank you. Thank you guys for attending. Rohit says, do you help prepare an end-to-end lifestyle financial planning process along with the deliverables? Good question, Rohit. Yes, we're actually helping someone do this at the moment. So taking it right from the very start, as in the fact find. So with a digital fact find of, completing it online, right the way through to the financial plan at the end, all of that kind of stuff, and also annual stuff as well. It is possible, and it's nice when it's all linked together as well. So if you want to just drop us an email, we can see how we can help you do that as well. Jay says, not worth your time doing it. Get the experts, Dan, to do it. Thank you very much, Jay. Mind that. Do you know of any free cash flow modeling tools? Oh, that's a good question. I think Prestwood might have a free version, but I think that's for clients to use. And I think that's called The Truth About Money or something like that. I don't know. Maybe if anyone knows any free cash flow modeling tools, stick them in the chat box. So for Kathy there to help her out. Eleanor says, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Prudential have a free cash flow planning tool, apparently, according to Faisal. So thanks very much for that. It's called Pru Advisor, apparently. Thanks, Faisal. Let's go to the early ones. So Sean says, what is the alternative to presenting a financial plan digitally, not as a PDF? I'm thinking Flipbook or something like that. Yeah, good idea. There's something called FlipSnack, which is a really, really cool piece of free software that you can use. That's Flip and then just Flip Snack, basically. That is a really cool piece of software which presents it nice and visually for the clients as well. But there's loads of different ways that you can present this kind of stuff. PDFs are a bit boring, I'll give you that. But if it's someone with clear communication skills delivering this stuff, that usually goes down pretty well. So yeah, I'd probably explore ideas like Flip Snack and stuff as well. Catherine, yes, of course, you can have a copy of the recording. I'll send that afterwards. Someone anonymous says, how does this fit in potentially with Consumer Duty coming in next year? It's a good question there. I think I mentioned it a little bit in the presentation. I don't think this will anyway harm your Consumer Duty side. I think this will actually probably improve it a little bit, just to say that your clients really understand what you're telling them. With something like this, this is very, very deep client understanding getting to the side of this. So I certainly don't think it can harm the Consumer Duty side, and potentially it could actually improve it as well. But again, I'm open to the debate on that one. Someone has asked, could I use guardrails instead? I've personally never heard of guardrails before, but if it's just something which can create this kind of thing, then absolutely I can't see why not. John says, where the FP is a review document, it is a regulated document that poses a problem that a standalone FP doesn't, where you have to include some regulatory info, example, costs that you've paid. So yeah, that's a good point. I don't see this being a review document. I see this being a regular financial plan that you complete with your clients. So I don't see this being a regulated document. I mean, it will be because it's by you guys in a regulated firm, and obviously you'll have to get this checked with compliance just to make sure. But I don't see this being a legal document that you give with your clients. I see this as something as a client experience document, just like other things that you do with your clients as well. Mark says, thank you. Thank you very much, Mark. Michelle says, we use Canva for all of our funky reports and docs too. We can support anyone who needs help as we have in-house designers. There you go, Michelle. Thank you very much. Anne says, thank you. Someone else said Excel. Suppose you could use Excel to do this kind of stuff if you wanted to. Where is this? Gary says, where is this tech as regards APIs and automating such docs? Oh, that's a great question. I am not a software man. I would love for this to be able to be implemented in some way into like back office systems. We've had a few conversations with back office systems to see if it's possible, and a lot of the kind of early feedback has been positive. So the idea with it is that you just kind of you load this into a back office piece of software. It then has the fields planted onto the different areas. And the idea is that it's, once you key it into your back office, it's then automatically produced onto the document and it prints out for the client. So early feedback from back office seems to be pretty good. Again, I'm not guaranteeing anything now, but good question, Gary. And APIs is a really good question as well. Antoinette says, Prue, very good, very good. And so Jay says, I've had a lot of input into consumer duty, including sight of the 117-page FCA guidance. This will be a great help to assist justification of fees. So there we go. Yeah, on the consumer duty point before. Thank you very much. And Rohit, last question, has asked, what is the best back office software that links to these kind of planning documents? Automation is key, isn't it? Yes, I think it is. At the moment, I don't think it's there just yet. It will be in the future, absolutely. So, I mean, I can't really give it. I can't really give a judgment on the best back office software. I think any reasonable back office software will probably allow you to do this kind of thing. Anything that's not is that's not a great sign. So anything that allows you to do this kind of thing is probably a piece of good back office software. And then the final one is Graham just says refreshing approach. Many thanks. No, thank you, Graham. So that is all we've got time for today. Thank you very much for everyone to everyone for attending. Thank you so much for your great questions. And like I said, if you do want a copy of, you want to just have a chat with me, then by all means, just get in touch by email or on LinkedIn or on the NextGen platform. But it's been a pleasure seeing you all. Well, not seeing you all, but speaking to you all today. Thank you very much for attending, and we'll see you all very, very soon. Bye-bye.